and this is a story about future Gohan and the androids. Enjoy. After finishing Bardock After, young Gigi is coming through with another story based on the future Trunks era. It never made any sense why future Gohan wasn't able to beat the androids on his own. We've seen that his potential as an adult is on the level of Majin Buu, and a lot of people say that it's because Goku died early. We never saw what effect that had on Gohan, but 13 years later we see that with none of the Z Fighters around, and just by himself, Gohan was able to get as strong as a Super Saiyan. So we're in the future timeline, the androids are roaming the earth, and we get this shot of this little girl. Remember this little girl, because she'll be very important later. She's playing with a balloon, and as you do, she loses it. Then comes in future Gohan doing the only hero thing he's capable of doing in this timeline, giving this little girl back her balloon. And as soon as he does this little girl becomes obsessed with him. She starts calling Gohan her big brother, and because Gohan is Gohan, he stays for a little while and plays with this little girl. The mother eventually comes over to Gohan and tells him that this little girl used to have a brother, and he was doing great things until he was caught up by the androids and lost his life. So Gohan walks over to this little girl and says that he promises to make a world where you can live safely and happily. He even pinky swears that he'd play with her again. For the next while, normal events take place. Androids are driving cars into buildings, the normal killing of the human race resumes, Gohan trains Trunks, and for the most part, it's the exact same story. Young Gigi doesn't need to touch much. It starts changing when Gohan and Trunks have their first encounter with the androids. Now, the androids are at the carnival, and that's where Gohan and Trunks show up. So they start fighting. Gohan and Trunks are getting carved up by these androids. Destruction is being caused all around the place, and as Gohan is trying to save Trunks from the impact of these blasts, on the very next page, it's the little girl. She was the only one who was able to survive. Her mother and everyone else are nowhere to be seen. Android 17 is the first one to see her alive, and I must have forgotten how heartless 17 was back in the day. Gohan sees what he's about to do and he freaks out. He tells 17 to not involve a child with our fight, and that he knows this girl, and he pleads with 17 not to do anything. 17 looks straight back at him and gets even more pleasure out of knowing what he can do. He makes a blast too strong for Gohan to bounce back and ends the life of that little girl. 17 just killed a helpless child right in front of Gohan. In this timeline, that hasn't happened to Gohan. Goku died of a natural disease, and he probably wasn't around to see his other friends die. This is a real first for Gohan, and you can see it in his eyes. It is the equivalent of Cell crushing 16's head. Gohan takes this anger, and he is mad. For the first time ever, future Gohan has tapped into an inner potential and transcends into a Super Saiyan 2. And that is where young Gigi ends chapter 1 of his take on the Trunks special. The story is to be continued, but the way it's going, my guess is that the androids will barely escape this Super Saiyan 2 enraged Gohan, but then be caught out by an even bigger force, absorbed, and will have future Gohan vs Cell. That's where I think young Gigi's taking this story. Anyway, let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next Dragon Ball video.